thought we were going to be in the gymnasium after the caucus. I thought it would be just full, seats and signs, and I had aspirations of it being like the national convention. And then I come with Mr. Ashdown, and the door's locked, and clearly not in the gymnasium. Well, what do you do? All right. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I was not planning on speaking today. I actually wanted to be maybe like the precinct vice chair. By the end of the meeting, I was somehow convinced by some people that I'm a great candidate. So let me tell you a little bit about that. I have some. Well, let's talk. I'm grateful for the few minutes I have. I want to let you know about me. I was born in Illinois. My father's from Orem. My mom's a Midwest farm girl. Grew up on a farm, outhouse, the whole 9 yards. I was born there in the town that she grew up in. My dad and her met while he was on his LDS mission. They corresponded back and forth. Ultimately decided to get married, having never been on a date. He proposed over the phone. And it's been 35 years of lots of fun ever since. So, they're a great couple. They're strong. They've raised 3 good kids. Fairly good kids. I grew up in Illinois, though, and my mom and dad had always, we bounced back and forth between Illinois and Utah, and my family, finally the call of Utah and the heritage in the mountains won out. And so we packed up the Chevy Impala in the 80s, and we didn't have a dog to strap on the roof. But, we had plenty of bread and peanut butter and jam and bologna and mayonnaise in the cooler next to my dad's never-ending supply of Pepsi. And we were led west across the plains like pioneers, listening to 8 tracks of Neil Diamond and the Beach Boys and Kenny Rogers. We settled here for good. And, my wife and my daughter here, that's the girl screaming. People suddenly, they know I'm a Democrat, we can't find a sitter. So we brought my wife and my daughter here with us today, and I experienced a similar call to come back to Utah. I'm an attorney. I went to law school at Arizona State. I graduated, though, from Southern Utah University. I have an undergrad in political science. I was there when Dean Decker was there. I was fortunate enough to be involved in the Center of Politics and Public Services, the director there, which he was in charge of. I've had some great mentors here in Southern Utah, and we were fortunate. Not all Southern, I would say the vast majority of Southern Utah University graduates cannot stay. There's not an opportunity for them to do so. I was fortunate that I was able to come back, buy a home, and start raising my family. But my desires to be in public service and to work hard and be a part of the community didn't start with me. It started with my grandfather, the Geneva steel worker who supported a wife and 5 kids on wages, working long and hard hours. That carried over to my mom and dad. My mom and dad, I'm the first in my family to receive any higher education beyond high school. And my parents would get us up early in the morning to do the family paper route. Then they'd head to work. We would head to school, and then we'd come home, and then we would go down to the Beneficial Life building, and we were a little family janitorial crew. And those lessons molded me. They showed me that far too often, those in our communities that work long hours receive little in return. And not because they're lazy or ignorant, but because they might not have been presented with the same opportunities. Due to nothing more than where they were born or the family they're born into. And I think that that's a problem that needs to be fixed. In a country that prides itself on self-reliance and in the independent spirit of its citizens, I've seen too many who have no bootstraps to pull them up by. I'm a product of public education, as I stammer. I was the first in my family, like I said, to receive a bachelor's degree. I've received higher education beyond that, but I don't consider my success to be mine alone. I'm the result of a joint endeavor between myself, my family, and passionate teachers who instilled in me a desire to learn and improve and be curious about the world around me. We're all similarly indebted to concerned teachers who sacrifice time and talents in sometimes even a part of their meager wage to buy school supplies. In order for them to be able to have the benefits of nurturing the blossom of intelligence. It's only through a concerted effort to engage the student, her parents, and our educators that I think that we can provide the promise that our children have for us. Now this week, the Lieutenant Governor spoke up in northern Utah regarding the educational needs of the state. And he said that to the audience that Utah's economy faces a future of stunted job growth if it doesn't improve its educational system. He spoke of a company that even in the worst of the economic downturn could not find 200 job vacancies to fill because Utah does not produce enough engineering graduates. And according to him, that the legislature has determined that the best bet to get more money to fund our education system is the drive to get state control of the federal land. If that's the best bet, I think in order to expand our educational system, we were in trouble. The legislature's attorneys told the lawmakers that this bill, House Bill 148, has a high probability of being declared unconstitutional. I think that's rather generous advice. When the bill sponsor asserts that it's not your father's sagebrush revolution, he's correct. The costs of this one are going to be hung on us. And we will foot the bill that might only begin with $3 million set aside. Our children will continue to suffer overcrowded classrooms, and eventually this will lead to, as Lieutenant Governor Bell said, stunted economy for our state. Now we can and must have truly sustainable economic growth in Utah. Healthy business sectors benefit the whole fabric of our society, including the poor and middle class, providing needed jobs, helping people help themselves, and driving the economy. Now, my practice is primarily assisting those in financial distress. Both businesses and families get back on their feet. That's the lawyer way of saying I'm a bankruptcy lawyer. I see in my office every day good people. I think we all think, what? I didn't want to be a bankruptcy lawyer. I had aspirations of going to Washington and being a constitutional attorney. That was what Dean Decker's department instilled in me. And I had a friend, he told me in law school, I want to be a bankruptcy lawyer. I said, you're a damn fool. How would you want to be a bankruptcy lawyer? They are boring. I love it. My clients end up going through boxes of tissues. That's the cost I have to incur. People don't want to see me. They don't want to be there. But they are, for whatever reason. And more often than not, the bankrupt person, they don't exist. I can count on one hand, 2 fingers in 4 years, how many times I've seen that person. They're not there. Employers or laborers, none of them want to be in the predicament they're in, but they find themselves there. We must encourage economic growth in our state and bring work to our part of the state as well. Not just Wasatch Front in Utah County. I grew up in Salt Lake, but I live here. I love this place. This is where I live. There's too much opportunity that's not happening for us. According to a presentation by the Economic Development Director for Cedar City, we are in competition with Las Vegas, Phoenix, Reno, and the Wasatch Front to attract new businesses and jobs to our area. And that Economic Development Committee consists of one person, and he does not have enough money to even get booth space at most of the conventions he goes to. We have steep competition, and we must take it seriously or we'll lose our most precious resource, our children, who will move away to provide for their families. Now, jobs need to be more than simple exploitation of natural resources. Southern Utah must be more than what the state legislature sees, which is that part of the state where federal land is, that we hope to get to mine, drill, and frack for fuel. If in the unlikely event the state is successful in seizing federal lands, voices in the legislature must say more than drill, baby, drill. Truly sustainable growth means looking beyond how many barrels of oil we can get for the next few decades. It means having long-term perspectives, patience, and sacrifice that the founders of this state had when they stuck to a plan to build a building that took 40 years, which now stands as a monument to their determination. I don't expect or believe government can solve all our problems. I've never contemplated that it could, even though I'm a Democrat. You ask a Republican, apparently that's what I believe. But I do believe that citizens organized in the pursuit of common goals, that there is power there. I believe in common purpose, and that it does not mean that we must all be aligned with one party. There is power in citizens of this state that goes untapped, underutilized, and often ignored. In our pursuit of the goals of equality, education, and sustainable economic development for all, and not just the wealthy, is not a guise. We seek a level playing field to help the needy and less fortunate, not to create a state of dependence on the government in order to obtain their votes, but because at one point or another, we are all at the risk of being needy or less fortunate. As President Kennedy said, we seek to do it because it is right. For if a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. We must be concerned and object to programs that are wasteful, that don't really help the recipients of the program. Simply pouring more money into problems does not help. Programs that reward people for not working are actually harmful to its recipients. If there is waste or fraud in a program, let us trim the waste and prosecute the fraud, not scrap the entire program. We must be concerned with encouraging real opportunity. The more opportunities available to creative and hardworking, the more likely success and progress will follow. Our pursuit of these goals is recognition that we expect our government to hold true to the declaration made over 200 years ago, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I stand before you today because of the principles we in this party hold dear, and seek to protect. The values of equality, effective government, education, and importance of family and fiscal responsibility, which are the bedrocks of both our country we love and the party to which we belong. The Republican Party in the state has erroneously claimed a monopoly on these ideals. And the longer they sit in the supermajority in Salt Lake, the more out of touch they become with those whom they have taken an oath to represent. Too long have those sharing our values in our state been marginalized by those who are currently in our legislature. Without a strong, robust, and civil debate in the legislature, Utah is falling into political irrelevance and stagnated ideas for progress. I will be a strong voice in our legislature to champion our community. I will work with the local county and city leaders to ensure the state government supports their goals and their rights to decide what their community needs. But I need more than your votes. I need your passion. I need your drive to make our community better. And together we can make our great state and even have a greater future.